So I want to talk about the rise of manga and the fall of comics. It's no secret that American comics are doing terrible, despite awesome movie sales. They're not translating to the comics, whereas manga translates to very successful anime and anime movies. Even here in America, we're just about to get Dragon Ball Super Broly, which will likely make a lot of money here. The problem is accessibility, continuity, confusion, and just a mess. There's a lot of problems with American comics. And I'm going to kind of go over some things that I really think are helping manga and hurting American comics. First off, when you think about going and buying them, you go to a bookstore where they have a lot of them. Let's take a look at what you see when you go there. So I shot this footage at a Barnes & Noble, and I wanted to highlight just how bad things are. And I thought that the two aisles of manga and graphic novels really showed the problem. Take this Batman issue that I just grabbed, for example. If you want to buy a Batman comic, graphic novel, where do you start? There's so many options, so many different names, titles. There's no clear indication on what I should pick up, especially if I'm buying this for somebody as a gift. I usually will ask some people if they want to get me something for Christmas. Hey, something easy, go grab me a graphic novel. I like comics. It's something that I can enjoy, and it's a cheap gift. However, as my wife would tell you, when she walks into these places, she feels overwhelmed. And how can you blame her? There's no method to the madness here. Books on top of each other, obscure things, holes. They don't even line up neatly. It looks like a mess. And I'd also like to note there's only one area of graphic novels. This changes with manga. But you can get a good idea here just how messy things really are. Look at this mess. Where do you start? Where do you begin? What Batman title do you buy? What X-Men title do you buy? What Spider-Man title do you buy? Then you go to manga. Look how nice and lined up everything is. There's two full areas of this. You look over here, you don't have that overwhelmed feeling. Look at Fairy Tail over there, right? Nice and lined up in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You want to buy Fairy Tail? Where do you begin? Well, you begin right there at number 1. It doesn't get any easier than that. It's very simple. You can start there and just work your way up to the end. It's very organized, and there is a method to the madness. Look at Dragon Ball. Which one do I buy? Number 1. It's easy. It points you right where you need to go. And I think that this is a simple thing. It's a small thing, but I do think that this is a big factor. And look at the extra space. You even got someone sitting there reading manga in the store. And look at all the product available there. Look at all of it. And look how well kept it is and organized. It really shows the difference between the two mediums. So it really shouldn't surprise you when you read that One Piece is taking over Batman in sales. Now, this was last year, and I wouldn't be surprised if they already have beaten Batman in sales. One Piece. It hasn't even been around as long as Batman, and it's already getting close to overtaking it. One thing that manga has over comics is manga is actually bringing in new readers that are younger, and they will likely stay with the medium longer. Now, comics aren't bringing in new young readers. The average reader of comics is in their early 30s, maybe late 20s. Comic stores are closing every day. Just the other day, they showed once again all of these stores that were closing. A Mile High Comics closed. That is one of the bigger outlets. But I couldn't even list all of the stores that have closed it's almost like they were just kind of trying to hang on to the end of the year. But we have more announcements, and it's likely going to get worse. I don't know if there's much of a future left, or even if comics were better, if these would be able to stay open. I'm not sure. All I know is that American comics have terrible stories that are filled with politics and preaching, and manga doesn't have those things. Mangas focus on their market, which they know from if a Shonen Jump book is published, they usually put a lot of those stories for young men, and then there's comics and manga that are aimed towards women. This is how you find your audience. American comics want to cater to everybody, and it just does not work like that. And you can see just how bad the sales are affected right there. And while I don't think print will completely die, I do think it will get smaller and smaller. And I think things like Amazon and such will be where you go to get the print versions of something. I don't know if there's much of a future for comic shops as they are now. If one of the big two collapses, I don't even know how they stay open. I think the magic number is Diversity in Comics, who's changed his channel name 3 times now, put it about 1,500 stores when they get to that number would collapse Diamond, and I think you have big problems there. One thing that manga's doing better as well is pushing you towards their product by offering economic-friendly options, such as this Shonen Jump app. Comics cost $4 an issue. Here, $2 unlocks all of the comics you want. And look at that. It's in the top 9 grossing apps in Google. I think it's the same in the iTunes store as well. And even if you want to make the argument for print, you can go on here and read comics for free, and then maybe that will push you to buying the print version. You can try it for free. You can't do that with comics. Not good ones anyway. It's like they just don't want to change for the future. And this is only going to make things worse. Manga is not going to save comics, as some people want to say. I did a video on that was quite enjoyable to do. It's just not going to happen. If anything, they're going to encroach on the territory and steal it, because there is a niche that needs to be filled, and manga will fill it because they tell the hero's journey, not politics. People don't want that. We know that they're not selling because, well, the biggest thing, besides the floppies and the stores closing, the big thing has been, digital. But yet the digital apps aren't top grossing. They never have been, at least for American comics. But also that graphic novels are the big ticket item now. Well, we know that that's not true either, as Marvel and DC have had to go to a wholesale outlet to dump off unsold stuff. Now, how this works is they went to alleys and said, look, we've got a truckload of stuff. We'll sell it to you real cheap. And that they did. They dumped off $2.5 million worth of graphic novels to Ali's bargain outlet. I actually visited one of these stores, and I got some footage that I will show all of you right now. Now, this is a smaller Ollie's. It's not a bigger one. They didn't have as much stock as some people have had. Some people have had a lot more. But I think a lot of the inventory will be the same. You see a lot of X-Force. You also see some newer titles here, but a lot of these storylines were really terrible. Got a lot of event books, Battle of Atom. You see right there, though, Jane Foster's Thor. The comic we were told was so good, that she was so popular. Miss Marvel, dumped off in droves. Captain Marvel, dumped off in droves. These characters that they say are taking America by storm and are so popular that they need to have their own movies and need to be front and center in the Marvel Universe. This literally shows how they're shoving things down our throat if they sell or not. But we move on. I'm going to start doing more manga content as I play with the Shonen Jump app. Start doing some kind of highlights of some mangas that I found and like and recommends. And, you know, we have to evolve because I don't know how much comics are going to be left. It kind of sucks, but manga is the future. And now I don't think that, you know, Batman and Spider-Man are going anywhere. I think they're always going to live on in movies. I think they're going to live on, you know, in cartoons. And I do think that the comics will remain. I think that eventually they will probably all become smaller, like a licensed brand, or the comic, like DC Comics, will downsize really small, maybe publish a handful of titles. And the same thing with Marvel. I think that the industry has to die to get all of these NPCs out of it so that it can rise again in some fashion, or the ship's just going to burn down. Manga is just going to continue to get more popular because it offers what we want. Heroes' journeys, hyper-masculine and feminine characters that are peak physical fitness in some cases. Look at Dragon Ball for that, Naruto. You don't get this in American comics. We want, body positivity and, have masculine women run around, and people don't want that, and it's showing. Manga doesn't bend the knee there over in Japan, and when it comes over here, they can't change what's already made. And I think that frustrates them in some ways. But this is just capitalism at work. The better product is going to take over. Toyota made Ford better, but I don't think that that's going to be the case with manga versus American comics. And it's sad. But anyway, what do you guys think? Do you think there's any saving the comic industry? I'm personally okay with manga. I like manga. I've been playing around with that Shonen Jump app, finding new things. Found this comic called Chainsaw Man, which is a lot of fun. I'm finding new stuff every day. I'll probably start doing more videos on that stuff really soon, actually. But tell me what you think. I want to know your guys' comments. How do you feel about this? Also, throw a like up if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Check out the book Sovereign. We're getting a lot of options in these comics gate comics that are coming out, and I think that one looks a lot like an anime manga and is worth your time. It's very cost efficient, only costs $6. Also, check out my Streamy and my Patreon if you want to support me. And make sweet love that notification bell. And as always, I will see all of you on the next one. Peace.